Yesterday we discussed the three round, the triple round, the vata, by giving a example, worldly example in the form of the tree, in order to explain the triple round, which is made up of Kilesa vata, leading to Kama vata, leading to Vipaka vata. From round of defilement to round of karma actions and to round of results. So that you will all be able to understand how this cause-effect process goes on in our round of existences. So in this way, the triple round goes on, going round and round. We need to cut off this round so that this round, vata, will become vivata, the cessation of the round, or absence of the round, or to stop the rotation of this round, or to stop the round, cease the round. So we need to understand where we should stop this round. Today we shall discuss this subject by noting the effect. By observing the effect, one eliminates the cause, thus cuts off the round. So there are effects which are not needed and there are effects which are needed. So instead of trying to realize the unneeded, unrequired effects, we have to work in order to realize the required effects. So, as it is said, by observing the effect, we eliminate the cause and thus cuts off the wrong. So, at what point should we cut off this wrong? At what stage? At what linkage should we sever this wrong, cut off this wrong? This has to be understood. So today we shall discuss the subject, how by observing the effect, thus eliminating the cause, cuts off the wrong, and where we should cut off this wrong. As we discussed yesterday, the cause of this set, which is spread out over three, lies in these nutriments in the form of the soil, nutriments from the soil, water, oxygen from the air, sunlight, and so on. So long as these nutriments are nurturing, there will be set throughout the tree. So so long as they are there, the nutriments are nurturing this the set will happen in the tree all the time, giving rise to fruits. The tree will bear fruit, and then from the fruit, the seed in the form of potentiality to give rise to new generation of trees. So if you want to cut off this generation of trees, then you'll have to try to kill the tree. And there are many methods of killing the tree. So for general knowledge, one method of killing the tree is gardening, removing the bark about 2 feet above the ground, or around the belt of the tree, so that although there may be some nutriments in the form of air and sunlight, there will not be any more of nutriments from the soil. They will be cut off. So, although there may be old set surviving in the tree, there won't be any more set coming up into the tree as a result of gardening. because of absence of nutriments from the soil. So that it is one way of removing or drying up the sap. There will be no more sap, no more new sap coming into the tree, so that the tree will dry up and there will be no more tree, no more fruit, and then no more potentiality in the form of seed to give rise to a new generation of trees. Such is one way or method of cutting off the generation of the trees or killing the tree. So it is important, according to this example, setting this as an example, to cut off or dry up the sap of one's life. What are these saps? As we have discussed, we have this sap of defilements, negative tendencies of the mind, namely avijjatana, upadana, ignorance, craving and grasping or clinging. There are two kinds of ignorance: simple unknowing, knowing in the wrong way, and then craving for desirable objects, sense objects, then desiring more and more, stronger desire, strong craving, and then two kinds of clinging. One is sensuous clinging, clinging by way of sensuousness, and view clinging, clinging by way of wrong view. So in this way, one can slowly dry up this sap. And we have to do it every second of the time, where it happens, so that the sap will not be given a chance to rise. And this is one way of preventing, stopping, or blocking, or cutting off the sap altogether. As the yogis are noting, observing, being mindful and fully aware at as regards every arising mind-body objects, knowing the two characteristics, individual or specific characteristic of each object, and its common or universal characteristics. Every time one knows, there will be no unknowing. Because one knows the truth, knowing wrongly will be gone. There will be no knowledge of wrong things. Because you are knowing the truth, the wrong knowledge, ignorance will not have a chance to arise in your stream of consciousness. In this way, this avijja, ignorance, simple unknowing and knowing in the wrong way, will be overcome. Once you are able to understand, observe the characteristic of mind-body objects which are noted, knowing the two characteristics, individual and common characteristics. The ignorance, the unknowing, will not have a chance to arise in the stream of consciousness. Instead, it will cease to exist. Such as temporary cessation or extinction, nirodha, and titenga nirodha, titanga nirodha. Also, if you are able to be mindful and fully aware in 1 minute, in 60 seconds, at the rate of 1 second, for knowing, every time you note and know, you are knowing 60 times. Because you are knowing the truth will arise in you 60 times. 60 times truth will arise in you. So that that many times the ignorance will not have a chance to arise in your stream of consciousness. Just like when light comes, darkness disappears. Once the light of wisdom opens up, then it takes the place of darkness, darkness or ignorance. And only when, as we have said, unknowing mind clings or grasps. Only when you are ignorant, you will grasp or cling or crave. Now, because you know, the craving will not have a chance to arise, will not crave anymore. Only when you crave, there will be clinging or grasping. Strong form of craving. Because the craving ceases to exist, so will be this clinging, grasping, which is a strong form of craving. In this way, as the darkness comes, the avijja, the two kinds of unknowing, the kilesa set in the form of avijja, tana, upadana, kilesa set, will dry up. So in 1 minute, if you are able to practice mindfulness, that much the ignorance, the kilesa set, will not have a chance to rise in the stream of consciousness. They will cease to exist. As this is because yogis are cultivating insight knowledge. With the practice of Vipassana, cultivating insight knowledge, they are said to be drying up the kilesa set, which is made up of avijja, tana, upadana. As we have discussed once, these three elements which arise every time there is consciousness, namely the base element, in the form of these sensitivities, ear sensitivity, eye sensitivity, nose sensitivity, and body sensitivity, and so on. All these things are base elements where the objects come and strike, impinge on this sensitive part of your eye, ear, nose, and so on. And these objects which strike are known as the striker element, which strike the base elements, giving rise to ignition element consciousness. If the visible object strikes the eye sensitivity, there will give rise the seeing consciousness, which is ignition element. Now the contact of these three, that is the sensitive part, the object, and consciousness, gives rise to what is known as phassa. When one sees there's the visible object, then the eye sensitivity, visible object strikes the eye sensitivity, giving rise to seeing consciousness, and the contact of the three gives rise to this contact, phassa. And when one hears, there are the contact of the three, namely the sound waves, the ear sensitivity, and hearing consciousness, which gives rise to phassa. The contact of the three makes up this phassa, leads to phassa. When you smell something, smell an odor, there's a odor, strikes which is the object, strikes the nose sensitivity, giving rise to smelling consciousness, and the contact of the three gives rise to this phassa contact. And the same thing goes with when you are eating. The taste in the food and the tongue, striking the tongue, giving rise to taste consciousness, leads to phassa. And in the case of body contact, you have tangible elements such as hardness, softness, heat, cold, stiffness, tension, movement. All these things strike the body sensitivity, giving rise to body consciousness. The contact of the three leads to phassa. So the same thing in thoughts and thinking consciousness. You have the thoughts striking the mind, either the heart or the brain, heart, mind, giving rise to thinking consciousness. The contact of the three leads to phassa. In this way, when the contact is good, it will give rise to good feeling, pleasant feeling. When the contact is bad, or the object is not pleasurable, then one will feel unpleasant, unpleasant feeling. And if the object is neutral, then there will be neutral feeling. And in this way, it is said in the doctrine of origination, dependent origination, phassa, paccaya, vedana, or the conditioned relations, phassa, paccaya, vedana. With contact as condition, there arises feeling. Because of the contact between the six sense doors, the object at the six sense doors giving rise to the respective relevant consciousness. Because of this contact, phassa, with contact as condition, there arises this feeling or sensation, good, bad, or neutral. As a result of all these things happen as a result of past karma. The result of past karma, good or bad or neutral, you experience presently. So at that's the place where you insert or put in the practice of Satipatthana, so that from feeling there will not arise any craving. It will stop at the stage of feeling. So the linkage between feeling and craving has to be cut off. Make a practice of the way of mindfulness, so that even if there's feeling, good or bad, there will not be resultant craving, because you are practicing Satipatthana by way of all the practice of the noble path of constituents. The linkage between these two is said to be cut off. The set is said to be dried up on a part-time basis in the course of the practice, and one has got to accumulate this energy of drying up the set on a part-time basis, gradually accumulating them in order to accumulate into the real peace, real cessation, achanta, nirodha, full-time cessation. And to clarify better, in the body there are these feelings all the time, except the time when you are fast asleep. Even when you are asleep, there is a subtle form of feeling which is not noticeable. It is when you are awake, of course, all these feelings are noticeable, especially good and bad feelings. Neutral feelings are not so much. When the objects are good, pleasant, then there will be pleasant feeling. When the objects are bad, there will be unpleasant feeling. So, as a result of the contact, there arises this feeling, good or bad. They're quite obvious. And as it is said, when there is a good feeling, you long for better and better feeling. When you feel good, you want to feel better and better. You want to see better and better things. You want to hear better and better things. And in this way, you want to go in pursuit of these sensual objects when pleasurable feeling arises, when objects are pleasurable. And also, on the other hand, when there is a bad object, unpleasant feeling, when you feel unpleasant, you long for pleasant feeling. That also is craving. When you feel pleasant also, there is craving. You crave for better and better objects. When you are having unpleasant feeling also, you crave for better, good ones instead of unpleasant ones. You crave for pleasant feelings, pleasant objects. So, tanha will arise, craving will arise, whether the feeling is good or bad. And as regards other feeling, there is a third type of feeling, upekha, neutral or equanimous feeling, which you experience, you tend to experience at the higher stages of insight knowledge, especially at the insight knowledge equivalent to the fourth jhana, especially from the stage of Bhanga jnana to Sankharupeka jnana, the knowledge of dissolution to the knowledge of equanimity about formations. When you will be noting objects in a very comfortable manner, you don't need to exert very much at this stage. That is the stage of sanctity. good with calm feeling at the stage of upekkha, neutral or equanimous feeling. This becomes very obvious. So that yogis at this stage feel so good with this upekkha, neutral feeling, calm feeling, tranquil feeling. They crave for more and more such feelings. In this way, as a result of upekkha, neutral feeling, or equanimous feeling, there can arise this craving, tanha. So craving will arise from all these three kinds of feelings, good, bad, and neutral. Hence it is said, Vedana with feeling as condition, there arises this craving. Because of the three kinds of feelings, this is how the craving arises from the three kinds of feelings. So this feeling is the resultant, which presently experienced by you, to give rise to the next cause for the next becoming, that is tanha, craving. When you crave, this becomes a cause, a new cause. Vedana is a present effect as a result of the past cause. Now comes tanha, craving, which becomes the cause, new cause. So that new cause will not arise, you chip in your noting mind in between, in the linkage between the Vedana and tanha, so that this linkage is cut off. And when there's a good feeling, you just note it, so that there will be no craving for better and better feeling. When there is bad feeling also, you note it, so that you will crave or long for good feeling. When you are noting, you mobilize these three mental powers, namely viriya, sati, samadhi, energy, ardent as the sustained energy, and then the sustained mindfulness, and the deepened concentration, kanika samadhi. If you are able to mobilize these three mental states, viriya, sati, samadhi, then this tanha, craving, will not be given a chance to arise in the stream of consciousness. Once you cultivate knowledge, seeing the true nature of the objects noted, you become free of tanha to the stage of even cutting off, eradicating the latent tendency of this craving. In this way, this is how you cut off gradually, so that even the latent form will be cut off. In this way, with the mindfulness of the effect, eliminating the cause, cuts off the round of samsara. Because you are substituting with satipatthana, the practice of the way of mindfulness, in between this feeling and the craving. Between these two things is craving and grasping, tanha uparana, which are kilesas, defilements, negative tendencies of mind, will not be given a chance to arise in the stream of consciousness. By not giving a chance, you are said to have ceased these kilesas, or kilesas are said to have come to cessation. And this kind of cessation is a minor form of cessation or peace, known as Dharenga Santi, momentary peace, or Dharenga Nirodha, momentary cessation or extinction. As the saying goes, unmindfulness allows kilesas, and mindfulness prevents them. So because you are not mindful, kilesas will be allowed to arise in the stream of consciousness. If you are not practicing satipatthana, these negative tendencies of the mind, tanha upadana, will be given a chance to arise. All these tendencies will enter, so that there will be no cessation, no extinction. The mind will be agitated, there will be turbulence. And conversely, with mindfulness, kilesas are not allowed. Or mindfulness removes kilesas. Because you are noting whether you feel good or bad, or neutral, you note these feelings, observe them. So long as you are mindful and fully aware, you are knowing the true nature, the true nature out of the object. You are observing them, so that these kilesas which will arise if you are not mindful will not arise. They are not given a chance. Such is again extinction or cessation, nirodha, tathanga nirodha, tathanga santi, temporary peace or temporary momentary cessation. So only when they cease, when the negative tendencies cease, there will not be any resultant actions performed by body, speech and mind. There will be no karma by body, speech and mind. They will not arise. Because these karma, actions, body, speech and mind leads to the wrong, vadagami. Now we are practicing Satipatthana, the way of mindfulness, or the Noble Eightfold Path, which leads you out of the wrong. Vivadagami kusala. Wholesomeness which leads you out of the wrong. Because you are practicing Satipatthana. So, this is how you cause these kilesas to come to cessation or extinction with the practice of mindfulness, by not giving them a chance to arise, leading to nirodha, the extinction or cessation, tathanga nirodha or tathanga santi, temporary, momentary cessation or momentary peace. So, with the practice of Satipatthana, you cut off the round which is made up of kilesa vada, round of defilement, kama vada, the round of action, and vipaka vada, the round of results. Because you see the true nature of the objects, leading to this tathanga nirodha, tathanga santi, which is on a part-time basis. And you have to accumulate this part-time nirodha in order to realize the final cessation or extinction. Now, as we have given the example of this garling, removing the bark of the tree around the belt, so that the nutriments are prevented from coming up to the tree to give rise to new sap. There will be no more sap in the tree as a result of this garling effect. So do with the mindfulness of every arising feelings, good or bad or neutral, seeing the nature of these feelings. Every time you note, you are drying up the sap of these negative tendencies. Such is Sachikriyaya, the accomplishing the function of realization. Of course, that happens only when you realize the path consciousness. That is real Sachikriyaya. Such cessation is the real final cessation or extinction, known as Achanta Sandhi, the final peace of Achanta Nirodha, final cessation. But in the arena, as long as you are practicing Vipassana without coming to the path consciousness, you are only practicing in order to dry up the sap of kilesas. So at this stage, you are just accomplishing the drying up process of the sap, not yet the making Nibbana as your object. To talk about it theoretically, from a theoretical literary aspect, we talk about this tathanga nirodha, tathanga santi. While you are practicing Vipassana, we are drying up the sap of kilesas made up of vajradhana, upadana on a part-time basis, so that they cease to exist temporarily. In the text is given the three kinds of santi, peace, namely tathanga santi, temporary, momentary peace. Then comes achanta santi, final or total peace. And then the third one is sammuti santi. So as for the first one, this is concerned with the Vipassana practice. By practicing Vipassana inside meditation, every time we note, we are knowing the nature of the objects. Every time we know, there will be no unknowing, no ignorance. So we cut off this ignorance, we overcome this ignorance. And we are drying up the sap of craving. If there's no craving, there will be no clinging or grasping. So, as you go on practicing this, cultivating this insight knowledge, we are bound to realize this part-time cessation or part-time extinction, part-time peace. This is the first one. As for the second one, Achanta Sandhi, the final, the genuine, the real peace, it happens only when we attain the stage of noblehood, Ariya. This is after one has realized the path consciousness, we will cut off the relevant defilements, negative tendencies of the mind to the point of no return. By seeing Nibbana, that is the Achanta Sandhi. And as for Samudhi Sandhi, the third one, this is the kind of peace which some of the religious leaders preach to their followers, that if you have faith in the Supreme Being or Heaven, then you are bound to realize happiness. You are bound to realize the real bliss or happiness. So in this way they give this kind of incentive, and that kind of incentive is given by these religious leaders, hence it is known as Samudhi Nirodha or Samudhi Sandhi. So we are concerned with the first one at the present time while we are practicing insight meditation by noting every arising object. So this is the first Sandhi. Then from this Sandhi, the Renga Sandhi, finally we come to the second type of Sandhi, Achanta Sandhi. And this will arise as a result of the first Sandhi. And we are now concerned with the third kind of Sandhi, which is Samudhi Sandhi. So at this time we have already 1 hour. So Sarah wishes that may you be able to realize, cultivate the Renga Sandhi, temporary peace, accumulated with the practice of Satipatthana by drying up the kilesa set. Sa